Howdy, my name is Ian Winter. I'm an AmeriCorps state member serving with the United Way of Tucson in Southern Arizona. This is the Zapier tutorial video for the purposes of the Valet VITA Toolkit. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up Zapier so that you can link your Google Drive to your Zendesk and basically transfer documents to monitor them as returns get prepared. So going in, I'm assuming that you have a Google Drive account, a Zapier account, and a Zendesk account. For the Google Drive account, you don't need to really do anything. It just needs to exist. And you also want to double check that you have at least one file in the drive. This is just for setting up and testing the Zapier. So for Zendesk and Zapier, you don't even technically need the paid accounts yet. You can set this up in the trial. This is just to show you how to do it from scratch. So here, you want to click and make a Zap. Here are a bunch of default apps that are built into Zapier or the most used, but we're going to look for the Drive app. And then the option of these that you need is new file, so that every time a new file is added to that Google Drive, which is happening when you scan a document, it'll trigger this Zap to forward that document over to Zendesk. If you need to create subfolders within your Google Drive, you can do the new file and folder option. But for us, we just keep it simple, no subfolders, and no real hierarchy within our drive. It's just the blank one. So we use new file here, save and continue. You have to connect your Drive account, which is just like any other Google access authentication. You have to give Zapier access to be able to do all this in your Drive. And then the account should work. If you need to test it, you can test it. After that, it'll pull in different options for which drive you want to connect. If you're just using the one account, one drive, then this is fairly straightforward, and you click My Google Drive. If you have multiple drives on one account, then you just want to make sure you're using the same one that is having documents scanned into it by ScanSnap. So once you get to this step, Zapier will automatically pull in a file from the drive that you just connected. And you can see it just says File A, which doesn't tell you much. You can click the drop-down caret and open up some of the keywords and variables and double check really that this file name, the title, is what you want it to be. So JDO is the file that we're testing. That's just a document I scanned in, and we're going to pretend that those are some documents that we're going to need to prepare some taxes. So that's correct. We're done with this first step. We go to continue, and now we click on the next action step. You can do this, or you can click add a step. It's an action/search. And here, for your first time, you're also going to need to look up Zendesk. So here, what we're really trying to do is find a ticket and create one if none are found, which is one of the more popular options. If you need to search, you can do that from the bar. So here, similar to the Google Drive account connection, you have to do it with Zendesk to make sure Zapier has access. It's a little more involved, and you'll see that here. It asks for the domain that you have under Zendesk, which should usually be the domain used in your email, your work email that you set up Zendesk with. So mine is Arizona Serve. My email is iwinter@arizonaserve.org. And so here, API token is a little more complicated. If you don't know what an API token is, don't worry. You don't need to know. It's just giving specific access to Zapier. So to do that, you have to come over to Zendesk. Here is the home page, the desktop, where you are logging into on Zendesk, and you've got to click on this admin settings token. I already click on Zendesk API, but you just scroll down here in this column, Channels, API. That's what this is. You have to enable token access, and then you have to create a new API token. So this is for Zapier. We're going to call it the Zapier token. You want to make sure you copy this string. You need it for this window, and you have to paste it. We're going to double check that that was what we wanted. Yep. Okay, that's correct. So we're going to continue. We're going to save that. Go back here, and it's connected. You can test if you want to. It's not entirely necessary. It's just connected, so you kind of know it's successfully connected. Here, under the query, you want to click on this menu and click on the title. That's how Zendesk will be searched via Zapier. And here, you want to make sure this box is clicked so that it creates a ticket anytime it doesn't find a result within Zendesk for that file. Same step here for subject as for the search. You can change it up if you really want a different process, but here we like having the tickets named the same as the file. So you can just click on title under subject, and for this step you also have to put a first comment or description. If you try to continue without this, Zapier will yell at you a little bit, but for us, it's just going to be the same thing every time you upload documents for a tax return. So keep it simple and short so we don't confuse anybody. We just say new return for prep. And we don't change anything else. These are some pretty useful options if you do end up paying for a high tier of Zendesk, which I doubt you will, or have different groups. You can do a little bit more specific allocation and assigning, but for simplicity and for our purposes, we don't use those. But there are some things you could look into to making the process maybe a little more complex on the automation end. So here you continue, and you can see the query is the file, the subject is the file, and the first comment is what we would expect it to be. So you can fetch and continue, and now Zendesk created a ticket based on the file. It didn't actually send the file yet, but you can view the ticket to see what I'm talking about. And here's just a bunch of keyword variables, nothing too useful for a user end, but you can go back to Zendesk and go to these views, and suddenly you have a new ticket, and its subject, or the title of the ticket, is the title of the file. So here we finish. We're not quite done, in spite of what Zapier thinks. We're going to add another step, and this is another Zendesk step to actually attach the ticket, attach the file to the ticket. So conveniently enough, it's the first option. Continue. Same Zendesk account we just set up, continue. And here, we use the custom value. You can experiment with other options, but this is just how we have it set up. You go, it says provide the ticket ID. So it's asking which ticket are you attaching a file to. We just created a ticket that we want attached the file to. So you scroll down in this menu until you see ID, and you click on that. Now it knows that's the file, that's the ticket you just created, and we're going to attach the file to that ticket. So comment, attaching file for prep, or even just attach file for simplicity, shortness. And then to click on the actual file, we're going back to the drive step here, and you're clicking on file, exists but not shown. So here you can see this file, which is a bunch of meaningless stuff for you. The comment that we wrote that's going to appear next to every ticket that attaches a file. And here you see the ticket number, and that's just the specific ticket ID within Zen system. It's not the subject or the title, it's the number that's assigned to the ticket. So We're going to finish with this step, send test, and everything was successful. Test attached file was sent to Zendesk. So if we go here, we go into the ticket, and you see new return for prep, and you see attaching file, and there's the file that will be the same as the one in the drive. So then we finish that, and we're actually done. So this is just the Valet VITA Zap. And you can turn it on, and we're done. So basically, every time you're scanning a document into the Drive folder using ScanSnap, now Zapier will transfer those contents over to Zendesk, so you can monitor the status of the tax returns.